Hello, my name's Jason Kennedy and I'm with The Ear. Today I'm going to tell you something about the Auralic Altair G1.1. This is Auralic's entry-level streamer. It has a DAC on board, digital inputs and a volume control so it can be connected to a power amp or active loudspeakers for that matter. It costs £2,699 and there's pretty high feature count for a streamer. The G1.1 is an upgrade on the G1 that preceded it. The main difference being that it's got this silver base plate added to it, which is a feature taken from the G2 series and acts to increase rigidity and thus reduce the amount of vibration getting into the electronics inside. Contrary to what many people seem to believe, vibration does affect digital electronics as much as, if not more so, than analog ones. This is largely because you get a quartz clock in DACs which vibrates itself, therefore any other external vibration is going to affect its performance. And clocks are critical to the performance of any digital component, it seems. The Altair G1.1 can stream from all the usual streaming services like Qobuz, Tidal, Spotify, etc. It has the Connect, you can access Connect versions of Spotify and Tidal, but you can also stream from Amazon Music and Hi-Res Audio, which is a classical specific streaming service. You can stream from external drives, of course, USB ones or network attached storage such as Melco or Inuus drives, or just the standard NAS, of course. But on top of this, you can install a drive inside the G1.1 and put all your music on that, which is quite a nice feature that not many streamers offer these days. It's you can effectively buy any drive if you like, any SATA drive, HDD or SSD, and install it yourself or have the dealer install it for you, and as a result you get very inexpensive storage, music storage, with the potential for high sound quality, because the machine itself is designed to have low noise, has high quality power supplies, etc. The sort of things you have to pay quite a lot for when you buy a separate audio server. Like all Auralic streamers, it's controlled by the Lightning application, and this is more powerful than most. It looks good for a start, but it also lets you adjust things like EQ. It's got a parametric EQ system on it. You can change sample rates if you wish. It also offers filter settings. There's about 4 or 5 filter settings to choose from. I usually go for the smooth setting on Auralic components. That seems to sound the most musical and fluent to me, but there are at least 3 others that give a slightly different sort of presentation and will suit different tastes and different systems. If you get an inexpensive DVD-ROM drive, you can rip your discs straight into internal or external storage via the Altair. This is quite a useful feature that again is also rare among streamers, and means you don't really need to have a computer attached to fill up the drive or to get your CDs onto a drive, either the one inside or another one, which is really nice. You can use the same drive to play CDs directly through the Altair. You don't have to rip them first, you can just play them like a normal CD player and control the playback with the Lightning app, which is quite nice. I would imagine that discs ripped to a hard drive, to good quality hard drive, will sound better than discs played directly, because of the need to sort of error correct the laser drive, the transport. CD players always have this extra hurdle of having to read a disc and correct for problems there, so it should sound better if you rip the disc to the drive first. It has the full gamut of digital inputs, including AES, balanced, USB, coaxial, optical, as well as a network connection on an RJ45 for Ethernet cables. You can run it wirelessly, you don't need to wire it into the network, but if you're streaming from a streaming service a lot, it's probably going to sound a little bit better if you do use Ethernet. On the wireless front, you can stream Bluetooth or AirPlay 2. The analog outputs are the usual RCA and XLR balanced alternatives. Auralic recommends the balanced approach, and I use that for connecting it to a power amp, but I did have to reduce the output level on this in that situation because it was clipping the power amp. There's so much output on the balanced connection, but there are the options to reduce the analog output by, I think, up to 12 dB. As well as digital inputs, it has a USB specifically for an external USB drive or the DVD-ROM drive. You control the Auralic with the Lightning control app, which is particularly attractive looking and nicely executed app with access to all the streaming services, the sort of native streaming services that the Altair can get to, but also it gives you it's a nice way to play back music from your own files as well. Auralic used the Lightning server software in their streamers, which means that rather than using the server in a NAS drive or a audio server, the Auralic Lightning basically catalogs everything on the drive and does all the file management within itself. This does mean that the Lightning app has more sort of features, more flexibility, but it also means you have to let it analyze your record collection, your music collection, before you can use it. But that doesn't take too long, and it's something you only have to do on the sort of first setup. Thereafter, you can schedule it to scan the drive for new titles at a specific time every day or every week, if you like. Sonically, it's typical Auralic. It doesn't have a great deal of character. It's very neutral, very revealing. You can hear plenty of detail through it, and it presents it in a coherent and musical way. Detail alone isn't enough really to make a piece of digital audio equipment entertaining. It needs to be well timed and sort of sensitive to dynamic nuances. Bob Marley's Natural Mystic was a track I used to check out the timing, and it sailed through that test. The bass is extended and full and generous, but right on the money when it comes to timing. I really like the way that the bass guitar and rhythm guitar are so nicely in sync, and yet the vocals and the drums are also clear. I think one reason why timing is good on this machine is that you have both the DAC and the streamer in the same chassis. There's no need for a digital connection, which is often where problems arise in digital systems, especially when it comes to timing errors. So you've got both elements right next to each other, and this allows it to sound like it's very sort of precise and yet fluent. I initially tried it with via the preamp, using the RCA outputs, and that gave me excellent results, really excellent results. I fixed the output and just ran it like that for most of the session. But latterly I connected it directly to my More Amps power amp, which was when of course I discovered that the output was a bit too high. However, once that was sorted, I got some great sounds out of it. It's not quite as good as an analog preamplifier, or a decent one, but it's better than most, better than something that costs about the same amount as it does. Anything, you probably need a better preamplifier than you can get for £2,000 to beat it. The only drawback, of course, is it doesn't have any analog inputs, so if you want to run a turntable or tape recorder, you do still need a separate preamplifier. But those with only digital sources will find that its performance via its own volume control is quite presentable. It's only really once you get up to more serious analog preamplifiers that the limitations become apparent. I played a lot of music through the Altair and enjoyed all of it, to be honest. You could argue that there are sweeter sounding streamers out there and more colourful ones, for want of a better word, really. The Altair G1.1 gets pretty well everything right. Its sins, if any, are of omission, really. It doesn't do the finest detail. It's not as quiet as a more expensive streamer, but it presents everything in an even-handed, dynamic, powerful, lively, whatever the record's like, you're going to hear what it's like through this. It was interesting to compare the onboard drive to my Melco server and discover that the Melco sounds more relaxed and smooth and easy, but the onboard drive in the Altair sounds faster and has a better sense of rhythm and timing, which surprised me, really. I know Japanese components like the Melco do tend towards a sort of more relaxed sound, so it shouldn't really be a surprise, but I was quite impressed by the results achieved with the onboard drive, and it's not a particularly special drive either. One thing that's particularly nice about Auralic streamers is that they are all upgradable to the latest software or firmware. Even the 2014 Aries, the first one, the plastic, much more compact unit which didn't have a DAC on it, can be upgraded to current software, which means it can access all the latest streaming services and the sort of higher resolution, can process higher resolution streams. So it's got a degree of built-in future-proofing that is always nice in a fast-moving field like streamers. Combine this with the high build quality and finish of the Altair G1.1 and you have a very competitive streamer that is nice to use and has serious longevity built in. See the link below for a full review on the ear.net. Thank you.